Listen. That is the sound how scientific research started in the Southern Hemisphere. Hi, my name is Chris de Koning and I am fascinated by interesting things. Here we are in Cape Town, South Africa. This is a scene of the oldest cannon in the world that continuously fires a time signal. This tradition started in 1806 and this cannon fires at 12 o'clock nearly every day. Thus we call it the noonday gun, which fires from Signal Hill. The story behind this cannon is quite interesting. Let's start with the spice route between India in the east and Europe. The ship sailed around the Cape of Good Hope, but the sailors had many problems to overcome. One of the largest problems was how to avoid running onto rocks. To navigate properly, you need to know where you are in relation to where you are going to, and to know what obstacles are in the way. To simplify the issue, let's just say that to navigate successfully, you need a compass, a sextant, and a watch. The sextant helps you to determine how far you are north or south of the equator. The watch helps you to determine how far you have sailed on an east-west line. The watch needs to be reset every so often. This is done by a time signal, such as the firing of the noonday gun that we just witnessed. Scientific research started in the Southern Hemisphere in order to provide a time signal to the navigators. This statement needs to be explained better. Here we are on the terrain of the South African Astronomical Observatory, basically the headquarters of astronomy in South Africa. This was the first ever permanent scientific establishment in the Southern Hemisphere. The operative word here is permanent. Before this observatory was established, scientists did come to the Southern Hemisphere in order to do scientific research. An example is Captain Cook, who stopped over in Cape Town during his famous voyage to observe the transit of Venus in Tahiti in 1769. The point is that they did their scientific research and then went back home. The first permanent scientific establishment was here, where we are standing now. It was an astronomical observatory established to assist with navigation, and it was originally known as the Royal Observatory at the Cape of Good Hope. The British took the Cape Colony from the Dutch in 1806, and in that same year they started firing cannons in order to provide a time signal. However, gunners are military men, not trained scientists, so it's a bit of a mystery how they determined when exactly to fire the cannon. To improve the situation, the British Admiralty decided in 1820 to establish this observatory within sight of the vessels lying at anchor in order to provide a time signal, as you can see from this photo. And that is how science was introduced on a permanent basis to the Southern Hemisphere. Initially, the observatory fired a pistol at night so that the navigators could see the flash and reset their watches. In 1836, the observatory dropped a time ball, and after the telegraph systems were introduced, the time balls were dropped at a few important harbours in South Africa, all controlled from this observatory. In time, the firing of the cannons were also amalgamated with the observatory. So, in summary, the first scientific establishment in the Southern Hemisphere was created to provide a time signal. The oldest continually firing cannon in the world providing a time signal is operated by the observatory that came into existence in 1820. Since this video was made in the year 2020, I would like to say happy second centenary to the observatory and to scientific research on a permanent basis in the Southern Hemisphere. I always like to be able to give reference to the source material that I used. If you click on the links below, especially the one that says time signal, this will take you to a website with more information. There's also a link to an excellent YouTube video by Willie Koorts on the noonday gun. If you have any questions, contact me on the email address.